But let us just enjoy this if you are a British enthusiast. And Nigel Mansell stops to take his rival Ayrton Senna back to the pits. On your way, Nigel, says Senna with a tap on the helmet. Get off it, he says to the official or the spectator who comes. Well, you know, there has been a lot of talk about bad blood between Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna. This proves that there is not any bad blood.
And that also proves that it was a jolly good idea to put that camera on the front facing backwards, because we can get a look at both of them. Crowd have come over the fences. Has become traditional here now in the last few years. And in fact, that's brave stuff by Senna, because you need a lot of strength to hold on to one of those things. And at the end of a long Grand Prix, the arms are feeling too strong. But Mansell taking it very slowly. You're aware that it's not a happy thing to fall off a Grand Prix car, and the highly polished bodywork is pretty slippery. But what a lovely scene.
I really like that. Mansell voluntarily stops. He could have driven on. It was the decent thing to do, and as I said, it disproves the belief that there was enmity between the two men. So Nigel Mansell, a very, very justified and a very, very happy winner of his third British Grand Prix, carries home the man who leads the championship still by 21 points. It's going to get closer and closer from now on. We go to Germany on July the 28th. Then to Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Japan, and we finish the Grand Prix season of 1991 in Australia at Adelaide on November the 3rd. So there's a lot of racing mileage to be done. McLaren have got to catch up. Williams will try to stay ahead. Ferrari, of course, will be trying equally hard to close on both of them. And with the news that Tom Walkinshaw has bought into the Benetton team, we can expect that to be pulled very tightly together with the famous Walkinshaw leadership and discipline applied. The Grand Prix season of 1991 is getting better and better, but for Britain and for the spectators at Silverstone, this will do very nicely. Thank you. Nigel Mansell wins. The crowd invade the pit lane, and being British, as soon as they are asked to go back, they'll go back. What a wonderful scene. Mansell won the British Grand Prix by 42 seconds from Gerhard Berger. Alain Prost finished in third place. Only those three completed the full distance. Thanks for the ride, Nige, says Ayrton Senna, who finished in fourth place, one lap down, ahead of Nelson Piquet fifth. Bertrand Gachot completes the race in the points for Jordan, with Modena 7th, Nakajima 8th, Martini 9th, Pirro 10th, Morbidelli 11th, Hakkinen 12th in the second Lotus, JJ Leto in 13th place, and Johnny Herbert struck a problem at the end but still finished in 14th position. So now the cars will go to the Parc Fermé. And in the Parc Fermé, they will be examined by FISA officials, the Fédération Internationale Sportive Automobile, the governing body of world motorsport. Charlie Whiting, the ex-Brabham chief mechanic, will be there to make sure that everything is in order. But a Williams Renault won, and that means to say, of course, that that's the third Grand Prix in succession that a Renault engine has won for the Williams team. Patrese in Mexico, Mansell in France, Mansell in Britain. It's getting closer and closer and more interesting all the time. The Honda V12 powered McLaren of Gerhard Berger second, and then of course the V12 Ferrari powered Ferrari of Alain Prost in third place. Hard luck for Ayrton Senna, but he still gets 3 points to add to the 48 that he already had. So the gap is actually closer than I had prophesied at the time when I expected him to be second, as Mansell comes into the garage. Now, the Drivers' Championship after the first 8 rounds, confirms that Ayrton Senna leads with 51 points ahead of Nigel Mansell, second. In third position, Riccardo Patrese. Fourth, Alain Prost. Fifth, Nelson Piquet. Sixth, Gerhard Berger. Mansell in the magnificent new press centre, the Jimmy Brown Centre, named after the late track manager of Silverstone that built it up over the years, and it's his son Hamish who runs Silverstone now. It's a bit tough on Nigel. He's got to climb all these stairs, but I'm sure he'll find the energy and the adrenaline to do it without a problem. He's a tremendously fit man, puffing his cheeks out a bit. Gary Crumpler, who is the Williams public relations manager, greets his driver home. And they're going into the interview room now. The cars go to the Parc Fermé. The top 3 drivers, Mansell, Berger and Prost, will go into the interview room. And incidentally, a word about Gerhard Berger. That's only his 3rd race finish, and he's yet to finish lower than 3rd. And that's Jean-Marie Balestre, who is the president of FISA. Alain Prost, 3rd position. Nigel Mansell in front of the adoring British crowd, with Monsieur Jean-Marie Balestre. Well done, Nigel. The strains of the national anthem die down. 3 enormously popular Grand Prix racing drivers on the podium. On the left, Gerhard Berger, receiving the winner's award from His Royal Highness Prince Michael of Kent, Nigel Mansell. He led on lap 1 and he led on every one of the other 58 laps. He made the fastest lap. And Alain Prost finishes in 3rd place to take 4 points. And on the left, on the extreme left, receiving the Gold Cup, is Patrick Head, the chief designer, the man who leads the design team at Williams. And I emphasise design team, there he is, because no one man designs a Grand Prix car these days. It's down to a number of specialists in their various departments, engine, chassis, suspension and so on. And what a wonderful sight that is after all the talk about bad feelings there have been. Nigel Mansell lifts the arms of Gerhard Berger and Alain Prost.
By Mr. Peter Bartel of Foster's.
Oh, now the moment that the photographers dread. It's champagne time. And Patrick Head is getting it. That's what you get for leading the design team which produce a race-winning car. But it's not too much. Take that, Alain Prost. I know it's childish, but it really is. It's a great way of letting off steam. And Nigel throws, I think it was probably one of his gloves, to the crowd. Remember last year when he was driving for Ferrari, he threw his balaclava and both his gloves into the crowd after he had despairingly retired his Ferrari after a magnificent drive. What a wonderful showman Nigel is. They're his crowd and he is their man. But his day isn't over yet. it's into the interview room to tell the television networks all over the world, and I mean all over the world, because we are talking to Australia, Canada, New Zealand, South Africa, Hong Kong, and there are, of course, commentators from all the European, South American and other countries telling the world about Nigel Mansell's victory in the 1991 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, beating Gerhard Berger's McLaren to second place, Alain Prost Ferrari to third position, Ayrton Senna, his chief rival in the World Championship, to fourth place, Nelson Piquet, 3 times a world champion, fifth position, and Bertrand Gachot for the new superb Jordan Ford team takes 6th position and the 4th consecutive World Championship points position this year. Yes, Prost getting rid of the champagne. Gerhard Berger doesn't actually look particularly pleased about his second place. Yes, I will sign the cup. And he does so. The champagne, rather. Nigel, I wonder if Roseanne makes him look after the silver like that at their Port Erin home. Give it a rub, Nigel. Prost and Berger. I love Nigel industriously polishing his cup. And right now, there in the interview room to find out what happened from their point of view is Jonathan Palmer.
Nigel, congratulations on an absolutely superb performance. That was the one the crowd wanted, and it came. Did you have any problems on what looked to be a pretty easy race?
Oh, Jonathan, you know that isn't true. It was a hard race, and I blistered my first set of tyres and had to stop for tyres. I was trying to go the whole race. And then the last 10 laps, I was making half the gear changes I usually make because I had big problems with the gearbox. And in fact, the whole last lap I went round the last 2 laps in one gear. And so I'm just pleased it wasn't any more laps than it was, because God forbid if we would have stopped again on the last lap.
Okay, Gerhard, things didn't seem to start too well. There was an incident with Patrese, then a pit stop earlier on, but this time your luck seemed to change. And whilst it's unfortunate for Ayrton, we're all absolutely thrilled to see you in second place. Any problems for you on the way?
Patrese just went over my front suspension. The front suspension bent, and the steering wheel was like this, and I could all the blister here, and I couldn't even on one side I couldn't steering right. So the tires gone, the first one quite early, so I had to change tires, and then I just did as smooth as possible to not destroy the second set of tires.
Okay, Alain. It seemed at one time that you weren't going to stop for tyres there, but then after, I think it was the avoidance of the De Cesaris incident, you then came in. Did you plan on stopping for tyres? And if not, could you possibly have caught Gerhard, do you think?
I think so. But because with the first set I was quite well. In fact, I spun first. I don't know what happened. Alizé lost some oil, got some oil on the screen, and I did a mistake. I touched the curb and I spun. Then the car was going quite well, even at the beginning, but Alizé overtook me in a very small room. And then I got some debris from the De Cesaris crash, and I had to stop for tires, but I did not plan to stop. My tires were very good.
Nigel, that tyre stop, it seemed a little bit late. Was it purely precautionary, or did you need that second set of tyres?
No, I needed a second set of tyres because of the wheel weights. I think I lost one on the front and one on the back. I know I blistered them, but it was the vibration that made me stop. But the team did a great pit stop, and after we came out, then other than the last 10 laps when my heart was in my mouth, I mean, I was happy, but oh boy, the last few laps was hurting, because when you pull for a gear and it doesn't go in gear and you're stuck in neutral, you have to get another gear, otherwise everything will stop. And I had about 2 or 3 frights, but I'm here, so I'm happy.
Well, you were certainly the pre-race favourite here. All the crowd were backing you. How does it feel now to have actually done it here in front of the British crowd at Silverstone?
Well, it's strange. Well, I probably don't believe it. I mean, the crowd are just incredible, aren't they? I mean, my heart goes out to them. I thank them very much for the support. It is absolutely fantastic. It feels great, honestly.
Nigel Mansell, superb.
Well, that just shows, and there's a Mansell supporter if ever I saw one, that just shows that you can't always believe what you see. Those words of Nigel Mansell confirm that Williams have not overcome their semi-automatic gearbox problem. It means that they've had a problem in every race this year, and just as Senna was lucky to finish in all the first 4 Grand Prix and win them, so obviously was Mansell lucky to finish in the lead and to win here at Silverstone. And of course Gerhard Berger's drive with the broken front suspension or bent front suspension was equally praiseworthy. But in the end, Nigel Mansell wins the British Grand Prix from Gerhard Berger's McLaren, Alain Prost's Ferrari, Ayrton Senna's McLaren and Nelson Piquet's Benetton, with Bertrand Gachot in the Jordan Ford in 6th place. Stefano Modena 7th a lap down, as was Nakajima in 8th place, Pierluigi Martini in 9th position, Emanuele Pirro 10th, 2 laps down, ahead of Morbidelli 11th, and in 12th place Mika Hakkinen. Then the last 2 finishers, JJ Leto in the Dallara, and 4 laps down, Britain's Johnny Herbert in the Lotus. Well, the crowd is on the circuit. There's the Brazilian flags there, but Ayrton Senna's lead over Nigel Mansell in the World Championship is reduced to, 18 points? Riccardo Patrese, 3rd, 11 points behind Nigel Mansell, with Alain Prost in 4th position. And McLaren, thanks to both their men finishing in the points, are now 22 points ahead of Williams Renault, with Ferrari in 3rd place. Well, Benetton, Tyrrell and Jordan in 4th, 5th and 6th places in the Constructors' Championship. It's been a marvellous race and a marvellous day for what surely must have been deservedly a record crowd here at Silverstone. It's been a marvellous race for us, and we hope you've enjoyed it too.
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Murray, and what a happy scene that was at the close as Nigel Mansell gave the luckless Ayrton Senna a lift back to the motorhomes and the paddock here, but a real boost to his World Championship situation now. And that record crowd, the bulk of them have been down on the home straight in front of the presentation podium here. It really has been a quite astonishing scene. There's still 2 more races to come on the Silverstone schedule today. I think they're going to be somewhat delayed, but the crowd making an orderly path back into the seats now. The stadiums are filling up once again, and a terrific scene here at Silverstone with Nigel Mansell, every inch the British hero.